Welcome back to our chemistry class. Today is our lesson number 2 on our strand number 1, the ways materials are structured, and our substrand, the atomic structure and bonding. Our learning outcome today is only one learning outcome because I want today to reinforce our knowledge of atomic structure and periodic table from our lesson number 1 with some interactive activities. Our keywords today are on the atomic structure and periodic table. Remember from our lesson number 1, we were talking about the atomic structure, what the nucleus, what the protons, what the neutrons are, what are the electrons, what are the shells of the atomic structure, and also we talk about the arrangement of electrons in shells. We also talk in lesson number 1 about the periodic table of elements, the order of elements by atomic number, how they are arranged by atomic number, what the numbers and the symbols in the periodic table stand for, and we also learn some ways to memorize the first 20 elements. Now, before we get to the main activity, let's have a warm-up activity. Remember in our lesson number 1, I told you to go and memorize the first 20 elements by creating your own rap song. Right, so I hope you have done that, memorizing the first 20 elements from hydrogen to calcium of the periodic table. Here is an example from my friend Abraham Doma from the YouTube. Let's have a listen.
Welcome to the show. I'm Ibrahim Do. I drop like a pro. First 20 elements. So this will be eminence. Hydrogen and helium. The top is the lithium. Fourth is beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, silicon, phosphorus, after aluminium, sulfur, chlorine, argon 19 is potassium. The last not the least is known as the calcium. Try to be a scientist because they are the premium. Welcome to the show. I'm Ibrahim Do. I drop like a pro. First 20 elements. So this will be eminent. Hydrogen and helium. The top is the lithium. Fourth is beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, silicon, phosphorus, after aluminium, sulfur, chlorine, argon 19 is potassium. The last not the least is known as the calcium. Try to be a scientist because they are the premium.
Now, we have done a warm-up activity, and I hope you have enjoyed that rap song. I know you have created your own rap song, and you can sing it along anytime you like in your home and in your classroom. But now we're moving on to our first activity. The main purpose of this activity is to reinforce what we have learned in lesson number 1. So let's get going. Now, our first activity is called Assemble Puzzle. I have here 12 cards that are not in order. They are all over the place. The idea is for you to match 2 cards to complete a sentence. Okay, remembering what you have done from lesson 1, what you have learned from year 9, now we're going to match 2 cards to form one sentence. You can work in smaller groups or you can work individually. Now 12 cards, that means you match 2 cards each, you should end up with 6 sentences. Okay, so you have 5 minutes to do that, and when you come back, we are going to have a look at the correct answer.
Welcome to the show. I'm Ibrahim Do. I drop like a pro. First 20 elements. So this will be eminence. Hydrogen and helium. The top is the lithium. Fourth is beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, silicon, phosphorus, after aluminium, sulfur, chlorine, argon 19 is potassium. The last not the least is known as the calcium. Try to be a scientist because they are the premium. Welcome to the show. I'm Ibrahim Do. I rap like a pro. First 20 elements, solid to be eminent. Hydrogen and helium, the top is the lithium. Fourth is beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, new sodium, magnesium, silicon, phosphorus, after aluminium, sulfur, chlorine, argon 19 is potassium. The last, not the least, is known as the calcium. Try to be a scientist because they are the premium.
Okay, children, 5 minutes is up. Let's go solve the puzzle. All right. I'm going to put up the first card, and you tell me what the second card is to complete the sentence. Let's start with this one. The number of protons. What do you think the next card is to complete the sentence? Number of protons is what? Or you can say the number of proton, number of electron is identical to the number of protons. Right? Number of electrons is identical to the number of protons. Remember that from our study in the lesson 1 on periodic table and the atomic structure? Let's have a look at the second sentence. The symbol for hydrogen, what do you think the last card should be? Good. It should be H, because we know from the periodic table that the symbol for hydrogen is H. What's the next one? Let's have a look at this card. An atom of oxygen always, what's the second card? Always has 8 electrons. Okay? 8 electrons. Remember, oxygen is the 8th element or the 8th atom in the periodic table. Now, let's have a look at this one. Let's put this card here. First card, the charge on the electrons is, what should be the second card? Negative. Very good. Charge on the electrons is always negative. Right? This card here, they say protons and neutrons. What should be the second card? Make up the nucleus. Okay? Protons and neutrons make up the nucleus. Remember, the nucleus is the center of the atomic structure. And the last card, the total charge on an atom is good. It's always 0. Remember that? It's always 0 because the number of electrons is equal to the number of protons, number of positive charge is equal to the number of negative charge. Add them together, you get 0. So let's have a look at all the cards. We now have 6 sentences. Right? Number of electrons is identical to the number of protons. I apologize for that. I missed the 2 over here to complete this, an English sentence, but it should be the number of electrons is identical to the number of protons. The symbol for hydrogen is H. An atom of oxygen always has 8 electrons. Right? The charge of electrons is negative. Protons and neutrons make up the nucleus. And the total charge on an atom is 0. So that's another simple activity to reinforce the concept of atomic structure that you have learned so far from our lesson number 1. Okay, kids, that's our activity number 1. I have another activity for you, still to reinforce our knowledge and what we have learned so far on the atomic structure and the periodic table. Okay, our activity 2 today is we are going to make a model of an atom. Okay, we are going to select an element or an atom from the periodic table, and then we're going to make some simple models. Okay, so I have here the materials, the cardboard. Okay, you can use any cardboard, any color that you like. You need some strings, whatever you can find in your home, in your classroom. You can even use some plastic strings, right? You find this in art shops or bookshops. You need pom-poms. These are what you call pom-poms. Okay, they are cotton balls in the shape of a small round ball. They don't necessarily have to be perfectly round. Okay, you need a scissor to cut the string that you're going to use. You need a glue. If you don't have a glue gun like this one, right, you can use simple glue like this from the bookshop. So we learn to improvise and use whatever you can find to make this a meaningful and learning activity for you. And of course, you need a pencil. Why you need a pencil? You need it to draw the circle for your model. So what I have here on my cardboard, I have written the circle, the two circle. Now, why have I've drawn two circles is because I have selected to make a model of the lithium atoms. Remember, the lithium atoms from the periodic table is the number 3 or the third atom on the periodic table, which means the lithium has 3 protons, 3 electrons. Okay, and remember its mass from the periodic table. Remember the number at the bottom? Remember we talked about that in lesson number 1. The number at the bottom is the mass number. And we learned from lesson number 1 that the mass for lithium is 7. Atomic number is 3, but the mass number is 7. So we're going to make a model of lithium. Okay? Now, because it has the mass number 7, and it's number 3 atomic number, it means it should have 2 cells. Remember that? The first cell can only take 2 electrons. The second cell should accommodate any other extra electrons on top of the first 2. So that's why I have 2 cells. Now, after you've drawn the circle, the cells, the circle, you don't have to use a protractor. I just use different size of plate and draw the circle, the cells like I have over here. And then I put glue around the circle. I'm gonna use the voodoo. The voodoo le fayema mo falli. Much easier to stick them around in a circle as much as you can. And make sure that it stick with the glue. It's much faster if you use a glue gun than this glue from the bookshelf. But you can make do with it because I know not many people have the glue gun. You can make it with such a clue like I have over here. Make it go around. It doesn't have to be a perfectly round circle, because in reality, the atom is not really a perfect circle. That is a fact. Alright. Use the scissor. Cut it up. So that's our first cell. Remember what I said? It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Right? That's our first cell. Now you do the same thing for the second cell. As much glue as you can to ensure that your string or your bulu will stick. Go around and wrap it around in your second shell. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle. You can do this at home as an assignment, or you can do this in the classrooms as a group. I think it would be a much fun activity to do as a group. And one of you hold the string while the other one put the glue, or group work. More hands doing the activity together would be more fun. Alright. Right, remember what I said? We are doing a model of the lithium atom. The lithium atom or the lithium element is the third element of the periodic table. Now you have two cells. So what's the next step? And fill it up with the proton, neutron, and the electron. Now remember what the atomic number of the lithium atom is? Right? Since it has 3 protons, how many electrons it should be? Right, 3, 4. These two go over here in the first cell, and the remaining one is sit on the one on the outer shell. 2 in the inner shell and 1 in the outer shell. Are we done? No, we're not done. Right? Remember, in the nucleus are the proton, which is represented by the blue color over here, and the neutrons. Right? Remember the neutron? But how do you know how many neutrons it should be? From the mass number, right? The mass number is 7, but you only have 3 protons. So what does that mean? It means you should have 4 neutrons. Okay. So cộng 5 neutrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright? So last night, different model. It's still lithium, but I made it hang instead of the cardboard one we just made today. I made it a hanging model. It's still lithium, but I used this plastic. It's actually wire, but covered with wool. Okay, so you can make it like this because this is closer to the actual model of an atom. The way they are arranged in the middle, in the nucleus, they are like this. So you see here, it's similar to this one. It has 3 protons, 4 neutrons, and 3 electrons. Okay? Whatever way you do it, it's still a fun activity to reinforce your knowledge of what atomic structure is. Okay? Alright, so that's making a model of an atom. When you were memorizing the periodic table, the atomic number of carbon is what? Right, it's 6. And the mass number on the periodic table, what does the periodic table say? Mass number is 12. Okay, so now you know the atomic number, you know the mass number, you can now fill in the number of protons. Remember, the atomic number tells you the number of protons. So if the atomic number is 6, that means you have what? 6 protons. Okay? And from what we learned in lesson number 1, and even today in our activity 1, remember the puzzle? The number of protons is the same as the number of electrons. So that means you also have 6 electrons. Number of neutrons, you can work it out from the mass number. Mass number is 12. Remember what the mass number is? It's the number of neutrons plus protons. So if you have 6 protons, that means you should have 6 neutrons to make up the 12. Now, I have something here that we haven't talked about in lesson number 1, but this is something that you should also know. They say here, what is the number of valence electrons? What is valence electrons? Valence electrons are the electrons in the outer shell. The outer shell is the shell outside the atomic structure. Now, we can be filling that up until we have filled this diagram up. Okay, so let's fill the diagram up using the numbers that we have already. They say here that we have 6 protons. Okay, so you can write in the blue color as the 6 protons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We have 6 protons. You can use the green color to represent the neutrons. We have 6 neutrons, and the 6 neutrons should be in between the proton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Color them in. You can use any different color that you like. So we have 6 protons, 6 neutrons in the middle, in the nucleus. And remember, it says here we have 6 electrons. Now remember the rule, you can only fill in the inner shell or the one inside with two electrons. Hallelujah, find for the first cell. Okay? So if only two are in the inner cell, how many should go in the outer cell? What does it say? It's supposed to be 6. So that means 4 of them should be in the outer cell. Oh. 4 electrons in the outer shell of the atomic structure. And those are valence electrons. Mga valence electrons. Electrons are faithful or the outer shell of the atomic structure. And that's when you can then answer this and fill it in, and you have 4. Okay? That's what it's called by valence. What is meant by valence electron. Okay? So that's another activity for you to remember all these numbers and answer questions in test or in examination, and also reinforce your knowledge, working out things from your memory without looking in the book. Okay, so now that we have done all these fun activities to learn the atomic structure and the periodic table, let's sum up. What have we learned today? What have you learned today? To memorize today the first 20 elements of the periodic table using Rapture. That is something that we have learned from lesson number 1, and we have reinforced it today by listening to the song from my friend in YouTube. We have also learned today to use word puzzle to learn the basic fact about atomic structure. We have also learned how to make a model of an atom to reinforce our knowledge on what the atomic structure of an atom is. And our final activity today, we use worksheets to learn about atomic structure and periodic table. And in doing that, we also learn what valence electrons are. So those are all some new information and some prior knowledge that we have learned so far on atomic structure and periodic table. Now, remember at the end of every lesson, I give you a challenge question or a challenge activity. Now, today's challenge question is for you is this: how is an atom similar and different to the solar system? Remember, you learn about the solar system from primary school and also in year 9. So think about it. How is an atom similar and different to the solar system? In our next lesson, number 3, we will answer this challenge question and then connect what we have learned from lesson number 1 and lesson number 2 to electron arrangement of an ion, and also to compare electron arrangement of ion and atom. We have learned about atom, but the next lesson we will learn about ion and then compare atom and ion. Until then, and stay tuned to Fossil 4.